everyone, this is Candy, the 614 Stitcher, and today is Saturday, August the 6th, 2022, and this is my Flosstube episode number 54. I would like to say hello and welcome to all of my new subscribers. I thank you so very much for checking out my channel and subscribing, and I hope that I can enable you with something that I am stitching. And to my returning friends and subscribers, thank you so very much for always coming back every time I upload a new video. I have had a great week. I've gotten in a lot of stitching. Even though my eye is messed up, I developed a sty in my eye. So if you see me blinking and doing all of that, that's why. It's not uncomfortable, and I have been using lubricant for it. And when I looked it up, they said that it could last up to 2 weeks. So it is still there, although it has gone down considerably. But that didn't stop me from stitching. I still stitched. I just kept it moving. And so we're going to go ahead on and jump right in with my stitching. I have a finish for this week. It is Winter Cardinal Etchings. And I stitched this. I actually started this on August the 1st, 2021. And I finished it on August the 2nd, 2022. It was started for the magazine monthly challenge. August is Robin Hall's birthday. She is one of the co-founders. I like that. She is one of the co-founders, leaders of the magazine monthly challenge group, and this is her birthday month. And last year the theme was birds, and so I started this for that. It is from the 2020 Punchneedle and Primitive Magazines Stitcher magazine. I stitched this on a 16 count natural Aida, and I used for the trees, I used Classic Colorworks Timber, and for the Cardinal I used Cherry Cobbler. I really do enjoy it. I'm not sure yet just how I'm going to finish it yet, but it was a nice stitch. Once I, corrected all the errors that I had made down, way down here, it was really good. And I wish I'd have been paying a little bit more closer attention to the start date so that I could have finished it on the 1st. But there is my finish for this week. And so I do have new starts, whips, Stitchy Kindness, and haul. And I am going to talk about my plans. So let's get on with the new starts. So the August Whip Go numbers were drawn by Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. She is the founder of Whip Go. And the numbers drawn were 25 and 22. And for number 25 for my board, it was a new start, winter. So I could choose any chart that I wanted to. It just had to be a winter chart. So with that, I decided to double dip. And for the hashtag Garon Designer Focus is Bent Creek. And so I double dipped and used a Bent Creek chart as my Whip Go. And what I chose was January Snows. And it is one of their snapper charts. And in talking with a few of my friends, they explained to me that the snaps were just something that Bent Creek did. That, you know, it was just, I don't know, a fad or something maybe. And that I did not need to worry about putting them in. And so I did get a start on January snows. And here is my start. So I am stitching this on Fortnite Fabrics Hue. And these colors that you see on here is actually a Cottage Garden Cottage Garden threads. And I am doing a thread conversion. So for this color, I went for the border and the words, I went with blue wren. And then as I continue stitching on it, I'm going to use a Blanc for the snowman and another Cottage Garden threads for his hat and DMC 801 for his arms and nose. Yes, and nose. So that's where I did get to. I stitched this on August the 1st. I know it looked, okay, there we go. I was like, it looked really blurry, but I had it too close up. So that is January snows. And that was my only new start for this week. And it was a really, you know, it was really fun. I just sat down, and when the chart came in, I think I actually got the threads before I pulled that chart. Whichever way it went, I was like, oh yeah, I know what threads I'm using for this right now, because they have like brown for the January snows, and I'm like, don't nobody want no dirty snow. So I changed the color for the snow and the border. So that's where we are with that. This is in a project bag by Vicky Stitch and Button. She sells her bags on in her Facebook group. Okay, so that was all for my new starts. So I had a few whips that I did in July. So I'm going to finish up the July whips first, and then I'll go into the August whips. So last Saturday, we had a a stitch day at for Keepsakes. And so I went down and I was there all day. It was so much fun. I got to hang out with my friends. I always love it when I go down there. And so I took my StitchCon 2022 Sal piece, and here is where I'm at. I probably need a board. So when I last showed this, I had this T and the rest of con over. And so while I was at Stitch Day, I finished the I, T, and the S. I am stitching this on a 28 count color and cotton by named Ophelia. And I am using the called for DMCs for this chart. And it is by Sue Hillis Designs. There is a sale going on for this. If you were at StitchCon this weekend, there is a hashtag for it, and it is in the description box below. I'm really pleased on the progress that I made. I've subconsciously made a goal to have this completed enough that when if I happen to get into StitchCon 2023, I can finish it and ring the bell for it. This is in a Lynn X Stitches Creates bag. Oh, and you know what? I wanted to point something out to you all. I know that I saw that Lynn had made an announcement about this, but I want to further it. So I don't know. Yeah. I was driving in my car. Of course I was, because that's how you drive. And I believe that this bag was sitting on top of the bag that I was carrying. And I say that to say it must have been in the sun, because this little dot right there is on the vinyl. And there's actually another little spot. And it literally came off of this chart. So I know she talked about being careful leaving your vinyl project bags in the car. Be careful when you're driving down the road with them also, because I did not notice this happened. And I would have had a big red spot on my fabric. But this was actually on top. So it was facing the vinyl. So when the vinyl stuck to it, it stuck to the chart. But that's the first time that's ever happened to me. So, just a word to the wise, make sure, because now, like, it doesn't even want to come off. I've been trying to scrape it and all of that, but it's literally melted onto the vinyl of this bag. So I'm just, word to the wise, be careful. Even, I would have never thought in a million years that the project bag would have done that with me just riding down the highway. So, because I put it in the front seat with me, and you just don't think about that. So that was my Keepsakes Sal by Sue Hillis. The next whip that I worked on was actually worked on Friday, July the 29th, and it was my wreath for Stitch Card Set G. And I did put some work into this. And so I brought down the border, and you can't really tell because of the lighting, but I started putting in the white around the wreath. And once I finish these two borders, that'll be all that'll be needed to be finished on this. I wish you could see the white stitches. So I am stitching this on, yeah, there you go. You can see them a little bit. There you go. Those, I put in white stitches here. I put them in on the top, up there. This is being stitched on a 11 count Aida white, and I'm using 4 strands of the called for DMC. Initially, my goal was to see if I could fit all 4 of them on this piece. I still don't know if I can do that, and right now I'm not concerned about it. It would be nice. I would love it, but I'm I need to get finished with the piece first, or the wreath. And then I have to calculate out like how many spaces between each one I can leave and still have enough for the 4 other 3 cards on here. So that was Stitch Card Set G, and that was still part of Jolly July. Also at the stitch day, I worked on 2 projects. I split the time. It was from 10 until 5. And so I stitched on Keepsakes. And then I also stitched on, I can't find my card. Oh, that's because it's in the bag. I stitched on Country Cottage Needleworks Christmas Carol. And when I last showed this, okay, so when I last showed this, I had just the very top part of the branches, and I had put in the hangers. So I have gone ahead on and put on, okay, there we go. So I have gone ahead and put on the very first top border and the inner border all the way across, and I brought those down. I have put in almost all of the greenery. I still need to do this one, and that's where I am now for it. I will be picking this up again fairly quickly. I'm not for sure if it will be this month or if I will be doing it for AB Singo, but it will be within the next month. So that's where I am with Christmas carols. I am stitching this on, what did I just do with that card? Oh, I am stitching this on a 28 count Lugana by Color and Cotton, and it's succulent, and I am using the called for DMC flosses. I feel like I didn't get a whole lot of Jolly July stitching in, and it, it's just the way that it happened. So I am actually considering putting some of those projects on my AB Singo. Okay, so on July the 31st, it was July's hashtag Garon Designer Focus was Erika Michaels, and so I worked on my Erika Michaels piece. And that is Holly Berry. I told you Holly Bear. I knew it one day I was going to end up saying it. And that is this. And I did get some progress in on it. I need my whiteboard. I have 2 of them. I don't know what happened to the other one. So here is my update on that. I put in the female cardinal, the heart, this circle ringy thing, and I started putting in the holly leaves. There are a few more holly leaves here and here, and to fill in this holly leaf. And then I will need to put legs and beaks on the birds, and this will be a finish. So it will definitely be coming out for AB Singo so that I can get this finished. I want to make this have this completed and fully finished before Christmas, because I think it is super cute. I am stitching this on a 28 count cream Lugana, and I'm using the called for DMC and Weeks Dye Works flosses. I love it. I actually have a few more. They are quicker stitches. You know, I only worked on it during the Zoom, and I was only on the Zoom twice in July. So that was 2 weeks, 2 weeks worth of stitching. So had I been on, you know, more than two, I probably would have had it finished by now. Sorry, I am very thirsty for some reason. Probably because I'm talking so fast. Okay, so now we're up to August. That was the 31st, Holly Berry. Okay, so then on the 1st, I showed you my new start. On the 2nd, I showed you my finish. So on the 3rd, I stitched on, it's kind of strange me not putting, you know, doing the whole right here picture thing, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. I stitched on Ink Circles, Half the Fun, and this was started on the cruise with Miss Sheila and Miss Margaret. We started it on Monday, July the 11th. And okay, it goes this way. Here is where I am now. I worked on this for 2 hours, and I put in, I'm up to 5% completed, 213 stitches. So I put in this right here. I actually think it's a bicycle. At first I thought, you know, like, because you turn it all kinds of ways, and I was like, well, maybe it's a motorcycle. But I actually think that this is going to be a tractor. I'm still, the jury's still out on what this is. This is for the letter I in the acrostic bird, which is for this month, for Robin's birthday. The theme for this month was trees, and that's why I picked Winter Cardinal Etching. And the bird, the Ink Circles I, is this project. I'm like all thrown off, I don't know. I am stitching this on a 16 count Fortnite Fabrics, and it's called Petal. And I am using Leo and Roxy threads, and the thread is Vampish. And I know you can't really tell there, but it has a great mixture of darker grays to some purples, and I love this floss. So that's where I am on Half the Fun. I have slated this to have 6 hours this month, and so I still have 4 more hours that I need to put into it. I will be working on that again throughout the month. Okay, so that was Half the Fun. For Thursday, the 4th, I worked on, this is a Garon toting bag. And it was funny, I was talking to Gary when I was in Florida for the cruise. And this is an inspirational bag, not a pride bag. When I initially looked at it, I thought it was for pride, but it has inspirational sayings all over it. and they just did it in a rainbow of colors, but it works for me. So in this bag I have Northern Expressions Needlework Twisted Band Sampler. And here is where I am. I had this part of the band already completed, so I started on the second band, and I had slated this for 4 hours, and I finished it on the 4th. I will be working on the Twisted Band Sampler the 4th of every month for 4 hours. Now, the bigger the band, 4 hours won't be enough, but if I keep at that pace, then I am hopeful, that it'll work to my advantage, because I want to keep working on these larger projects throughout the year, every month. And so that is the work that I put in for the month of August. This was started with Carolyn Zook of C Zook Stitch on July the 4th. I am stitching this on an 18 count white Aida using one thread of the called for DMC flosses. And I love that piece. Like, I was like, ooh, this is good. Like, I just sat and stitched and listened to Flosstube the whole time while I was stitching on it. And then the next thing you knew, I was done. So it was great. Okay, so then yesterday, I worked on two things yesterday. So in the morning, I worked on August. And this is the Square Dance by Heart in Hand. And I am stitching this on a 16 count Aida. The color is Dirty. And so I worked on putting in these two bee skeps. I ran out of queen bee. I am using the called for over dye. They are both Weeks Dye Works and Classic Color Works, and I ran out of queen bee, so I wasn't able to finish up that motif. This is an extra stitch for the month. As it turns out, this is a model stitch for Keepsakes, so I need to get this finished and back to her. So my plan is to work on it more this coming week so that I can send it to her this weekend, next weekend. But that's where I am. And it seems like I did something else too, but I cannot for the life of me. Yeah, I put in those two, and I think that was really it. Because then I found out, oh, you don't have a floss. I will also be starting the September one, and it'll be stitched on the same fabric. So that was the morning part of my stitch. And then yesterday evening, I always have an activity, a commitment on Friday evening. So I always try to find something that I can stitch on that is fill in, very little counting, all of that. And so while I was looking for something to work on, I remembered stitching each day, which was my May mental health SAL, my mental health stitch. And so I really started filling in the C and the R. This is the only part of this chart that I have left. So I really need to get busy on getting that filled in. So you'll be seeing this probably every week for a while because it'll just be my fill-in stitch because I have a commitment and I don't have time to really sit and count on Friday evening, so I'll be working on this. So it's coming along. I do have to get some more of the Paris green for this stitch, but I have an order, and I'll be getting it next weekend. So those were those two. Okay, so I also worked on, so I have a couple of different ways that I stitch. I can, like, when I get up in the mornings, I try to stitch in the morning before I start work. Then, pardon me, I also try to stitch in the evenings after work. So, this week, I pulled out, my Temperature Butterflies by Stitching Mommy. And if you recall, I was working on May, so I am behind, but it's okay. I'm not stressing out over it. It'll be fine. So I was working on May, and I had the right wing completed with all of the segmenting. So I finished now up all of the segments on the left wing, and I can start putting in the colors for the month of May in the temperatures. And here is where June will go. I wanted to make sure my placement was correct. So what my plan is to hopefully be able to do like 5 segments and then put in 1 thread of the June butterfly. And I'll do that in hopes of getting caught up on this piece. Because I just lost sight, like there were so many other things going on. I just kind of lost sight of it, even though it's sitting here looking at me. So that's where I'm going to go. So I'm going to start filling in. And the way that the butterflies go is like day 1 is over here, day 2 is over there. I'm going to just go down the wing and stitch in the temperatures that way. So the odds are on one side and the evens are on the other, and that's how I'm going to stitch it. But I am in love with it so very, very, very much. And with that being said, those are all the whips that I had this week. So I'm going to take a second and get this all put back away, and I will be right back. Okay. So last week, I was watching the Sunshine Stitchers, and Gary and EJ were talking about the designer focus, which is Bent Creek. And so Gary mentioned that the trilogy, which are 3 different designers, would also be a good representation of Garon Designer Focus. And I was like, really? Well, there are 3 different designers, and the designer of Bent Creek is one of the trilogy designers. So I was like, I have some trilogy charts. Ooh, that all the trilogy charts. I have some of those, and so I wanted to show you what I actually have. So as if you remember in my StitchCon haul video, Julie, my friend from New Jersey, she actually brought this to me, and it is, oh, you can really see the glare. I'm sorry. I didn't think about the glare. Okay. And it is Bountiful by the Trilogy. And so her mom had already started this. So I am going to be working on it also. And it, you know, as I work on it, it'll be for the Thanksgiving holiday. And then my next piece is actually already stitched and finished. I just need to fully finish it, and it is Spring Spots. And I really like these. If anyone knows, I'm going to be researching these to see if there is a summer, winter, and a autumn chart that are the spots. I really enjoyed stitching this. I actually stitched it last year. And here, and I might have shown it on my Flosstube last year. So there is a button that goes here that I still need to put on, but until I decide how I was going to finish it, I didn't want to put that button on just yet. But it's a really cute quick stitch also. And then I have this chart, which I am almost certain I would have gotten it off of a freebie, or somebody got it off of a freebie table for me. And it is Autumnology. And it has all 5 of these charts in them, and it shows you different ways to make them. And then the last one that I actually started earlier this year is Bucky the Snowman. And so I am also working on him. So if you have any the trilogy, you can incorporate those into your Garon Designer Focus for the month. And I thought that was really great. You know, the things that you learn from Flosstube is sometimes like, what? I had no clue. I also, oh no, that's in plans. So now I'm going to move on to Stitchy Kindness and Haul. So on Saturday at the Stitch Day, Miss Barbara had a drawing, and I won a door prize, and it was this beautiful flower. And I was super excited about it. And then there were trunk shows at the Stitch Day. Jan Hicks Creates, Rebel Stitcher Designs, the Salty Stitcher Designs was there. And those are the 3 that I can like pull from the top of my remembrance. And someone gifted me, they saw me admiring it. They I hope you can't hear the motorcycle going by. They saw me admiring this chart, and so they gave it to me for Stitchy Kindness, and it is the Under the Sea, and that is the model. It was so great to see Christie's designs there. I am saying that right. Yeah, Christie. And so I am so thankful. Thank you so very much for the wonderful gift. It really does mean a lot to me. I dream of someday having a themed living room with all things beach and sea, and so this will fit right into that, and I appreciate it. Also, while I was at the Stitch Day, because those trunk shows were there, I had the ability to purchase, make a couple of purchases. And so I purchased Hawaiian Sea Turtle. I have been looking at this. And so I just bit the bullet and picked it up. And with that, I also got the Sulky pack for it. So I can't wait to get started on this. It is stitched on, and I think that's all that I'm waiting on is the fabric. This, it can be stitched on a, she stitched the model on a 20 count. And so I am going to be looking for a 20 count or a 40 count. I'm not sure about doing, so this is a question. If anybody uses the Sulky threads, can you do, yeah, I guess you could. Why wouldn't you be able to? It's over one thread over two on 40 count with the Sulkies. And is the coverage okay? You can answer me that, because I love it. She did stitch it on a 20 count, so even with the one thread. And then I didn't know this at the time of StitchCon, but Miss Barbara announced it at Stitch Day, so I was like, okay, let me get that. That Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates, she doesn't watch my video, but it's an inside joke between the table at StitchCon. We had this whole inside joke about it. Anyway, Jan Hicks designed this especially for StitchCon 2022. And I didn't know that at the time. So when she made that announcement, I went ahead on and purchased it. And I'm thinking that it doesn't have numbers, but wouldn't this be considered a sampler because it has the alphabet? Can you let me know that? Because if it is, I am going to look into participating in Sampler September. And so I need to know so that I can kit this up. I just need to check one more thing, because it doesn't say, and I guess I could contact Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates on her website to see. The model is stitched on a 40 count. But you can stitch it on a 14 or a 28 count. That's what I was looking for. So, would you consider this a sampler? I guess in my mind, I thought samplers had both the alphabet and the numerical numbers in it. But I might be wrong, because I don't really do a lot of samplers. I don't do samplers really. But I've been watching some different Flosstubers, and they're really starting to interest me now. So could you let me know? Okay. And that is all of my haul. I am trying to be very good, as I have been enjoying the summer, and now I need to pay off some of those bills that are going to come with it. And so I was just like, okay, you got to slack back. I did, however, receive my Floss Frenzy from Fat Quarter Shop. And here they go. And this is citronella, daffodil, peppercini, guacamole, grasshopper, and moss. And on the same day, I then received my Cottage Garden threads. I love these threads. I love these threads. So this is Bonnie Brook, Blue Wren, and this is what I used on my January snows. This is that color. And then Quinn, and this is Blue Moon, and then Bon Voyage. So those are my cottage gardening threads. I am in the club through Garon Stitchery. They are so wonderful. And so now I am going to go on to my plans. So I am going to start working this week on the second WIPCO call, which was number 22. And for me, that is the mouth of the flower. Tomorrow on the Sunday Zoom, I will be starting Thankful Quaker. Also tomorrow, it will be the 7th of August, and on the 7th of the month, I work on Purple Rain, and my goal for Purple Rain tomorrow is to get in 300 stitches. I know that might seem like a whole lot, so I'm going to see how many stitches I can get in tomorrow morning, and then start adjusting from there, because again, I don't want to set too lofty of a goal and miss it and then be upset about it. So I'm going to see what I can get in as far as stitches. I'm hoping to be able to get in 300 stitches, and I'm hoping to be able to do that in an hour. I mean, no, in 3 hours. So, and then on the Zoom, I'll be starting the Thankful Quaker. Also, this coming up week, I'll be working on Chock-full Bloom, which is the D in birds for duo designers. And I also want to put a couple of hours in on my R chart, which is right thing to do is be kind. The right thing to do is be kind. And that is by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And then on Saturday, actually on Friday, I am leaving to go to Kentucky. I will be participating in a Stacy Nash workshop in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And so I don't know what's going to happen that day. I don't know what we're doing. We haven't been told, only that the project is going to be stitched on 36 count. That's all I know. So I'll see what happens from there, and I'll report back next week. I hope you all are doing very well. I hope also that you are able to deal with the heat. We are still in the 90s, in the upper 80s, in the 90s, upper 80s. I am thankful we had 2 really 90 in the 90s days here. And I have just been praying that the power does not go out. And it has not. And I am very thankful about that. I just keep working away and waiting for some cooler weather. My yard looks a mess. I have weeds like nobody's business, but you know, I'm not about to have a sunstroke going out there pulling weeds every day. So I want you all to have a very good week. I will be changing my recording date. I think it would be easier for me if I move the date from Wednesday to Friday and or Saturday. Um, Only because that way I don't have to rush to do things. So I'm going to see how that works out for a couple of weeks. I hope you all take care and get lots of stitching time, and I will see you next week. Bye. So I forgot to explain a few things from last video, and so I am jumping back on really quickly to explain what happened. I did not realize until some of you reached out to me that the video abruptly cut off and in the middle of the announcements. When I was looking at the recording, it was still recording. I had a lot of problems last week, which is why there are changes this week, and I didn't explain it in the main body of my video, so I'm jumping back on to do that now. As it turned out, I received some comments that the synchronization between me talking and the sound was off. And because I really want to do a good job at this, at recording videos and all of that, I was really upset by the whole thing. I didn't realize it. I uploaded that video Saturday morning right before I was leaving to go to Stitch Day. And by the time I realized and got the feedback, it was too late for me to take the video down because I was literally going out the door. As it turns out, the problem between the synchronization of me speaking and my voice is due to me inserting pictures. So the before pictures of my stitching, I enjoy doing that and have been doing that ever since I started. It is now throwing the timing off for the video. So for the foreseeable future, I will not be adding before pictures. And I hope you understand that. I think for me, it is more important that the video look more professional. I just want to make it look good. I'm not a professional videographer. I don't know. I have had my son look into it. I've had other Flosstubers try to walk me through it. I cannot figure out why all of a sudden that is happening. So, for the foreseeable future, there will not be any before pictures in the videos. And until I can figure out why it is doing it, there's nothing else I can do. The other thing is that with my tablet, it will allow me to record up to so many minutes, and then it shuts off and restarts again. And that is what happened last week. And so it did not pick up the second half of what the plans were. So I just wanted to explain to everyone and apologize about what's going on with the videos. I am doing the best that I possibly know how to do. If you have any tips, you are more than welcome to leave them in the comments. I welcome any support and help I can get. And I hope that you understand going forward. So have a good rest of your weekend. See you soon.